Nations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq.
We're about to get to everything. I knew it was you, Bubs. I knew it was you, Tuck. We're about to get to everything. I'm posting on TikTok right now for this for people to watch. But yeah, we're gonna talk about everything. You can also go look at the TikTok. I'm covering everything, but we're looking at this is the main thing. But I'm streaming for at least an hour, and then we're gonna see.
Regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels and international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking
this right after yesterday. First day back on stream, the main thing we were talking about was the war with Iran, because I hadn't covered it on my YouTube, so I wanted to cover it on YouTube, cover it on Twitch. And the main things I was asking KJ, our guest, was, do you think we're going to go, and that sounds good, do you think we're going to go to a war with Iran, right? And what is the reason that we're doing this? Because again, and you were watching, Tuck, I don't need to say, I guess this is really for the clips, but what is the reason that we would be going to do this? And I even remember you saying, like, it's either bully, get bullied, and I was like, well, are they bullying us? And now I remember we kind of ended that topic off of, like, when do you think a war will happen? And literally after Trump said an announcement, in an announcement yesterday during the day about the talks in Geneva with Iran about their nuclear weapons, he said, I'm not happy with those talks. We talked about that. And that night, he knew he was doing it at that time, obviously, and he can't tell anyone. But then that night, he went and started attacks on Iran with Israel. Iran has answered back and done attacks on an American bases. Trump has said that this is war. If we somehow lose American lives, that is a part of war. We have just found out that the supreme leader of Iran has been killed. We have just found out stories of schools, elementary schools for girls being bombed in Israeli strikes, because if you know one thing about Israel, it is that they will bomb anything to kill the people that they want to get. Not saying an opinion on that. I'm just saying, if they want to get the leader and you're around the leader, they're bombing the whole street. All right? They're not doing targeted missions, go in and get that person, extract. No extraction. Bomb the whole street. So a school of little girls was bombed. And everyone has been talking about this. We're going to go through all of it. I have a lot of likes. I have a lot of things. I have a ton of videos. Let me see if this posted. But before I jump into this, I want to post it to a few places, but this is an insane story. There is so much to talk about this. We're at war with Iran. Is it going to be for months? Is it going to be for a while? What is this going to look like? Mainly airstrikes.
Taking 12 of our...
But with this, what we're watching right here, what I have, why I get everything together with this, is Trump, of course, came out and put out a video that announced why we are doing this, which was the main question I was asking. And the main thing with this 8 minutes is he's saying it's because of we're doing it not only to stop their nuclear weapons, but he just came out and said it's a regime change. We're not going to do this whole 8 minutes. Just give me a couple more minutes of watching this and getting this together and sending this and posting to a few places, and we're going to get to
our citizens hostage. It was brutal, something like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror, and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again, they can never have a nuclear weapon. That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear.
So he's saying, and I didn't watch this whole thing because it's obviously bullshit, so this is my first time listening. So he's saying that the enriched uranium a year ago, he destroyed it all, and that they started in the year building it back up again, and they built it up back up so much in a year that they need to be bombed again. I'm just saying, I'm not even giving an opinion. I'm just saying what he's saying as I'm understanding it. He's saying we destroyed it all. They started it back up. And now we need to bomb them again.
Nuclear weapons.
That's what he's saying.
And we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades.
And we're getting right into
They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions,
that he did shortly after
and we can't take it anymore.
About
Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland. Just imagine how emboldened this regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message. For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical,
and massive and ongoing. And this is like one of the main questions, because like I like to think of or form these things like from questions. What are my questions from this? And one of them is, how long is this going to be? Remember last June, that was quick. It was fairly quick. When it happened, I thought it was going to be a big deal. I thought it was going to be how I feel now, like this long war. And it was quick. We bombed them. Nothing really happened. And then it was over. His wording in here, he just said, what are we at? 4:17. Let's go back to 4 minutes. He just said, ongoing. This is a full regime change. He's even saying in this video that the people of Iran need to get together to, after we do the bombings and turn all that stuff to rebel, you guys need to also fight and take over, help us take over your own government. I also was reading articles and seeing news things that in Iran, which I'm sure like it is with any country, it is a topic of debate which ones hate the Iranian government and which ones don't. And the ones that don't hate it for different reasons. Like, there's no way that the Iranian people are going to come together and topple their government, kind of like the same way the American people probably won't come together and topple our government, half of it being because we can't work together. So it's the same there, because it's just human beings. So he's like saying in this video, Iran, help America take over your country, the people, because they're effed up. Don't know if they feel that way. I think a lot of kids are going to probably grow up today. A lot of teenagers are going to probably grow up today. One of my friends said this to me, and I agree, hating America, but okay. He's saying ongoing war. So this might be... Are we going to spend 2026 in a war with Iran? And the first headline that's going to be crazy with this is, does an American die? We're 9 minutes in. I'm going to start.
We're armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message.
Okay.
For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very...
Okay. So that's a good place to end it. We're going to go through mostly tweets on this stream, but I want to start with a little bit of an article. I've been loving drop site news lately. If you know me, I still do like Associated Press, NBC. I've been liking drop site a lot lately because I feel like it's the most interesting. It's just the most interesting news, and it just feels like how news should be in 2026, right? So, as Trump launches massive regime change war, Iran strikes back at U.S. bases and vows not to capitulate. So, we're just gonna read these first three graphs just to get an idea. We want to get a structure of what's happened, okay? So, at 9:40 a.m. local time in Iran, that is 1:10 a.m. American or Eastern time in Indianapolis, where I am, President Donald Trump launched what he bluntly characterized as a regime change. Bluntly being, he's just saying it out. And when we're going over to Iraq and we're going over to the Middle East and we're doing these regime changes, they always say it's for different reasons. They have weapons of mass destruction. They usually try to lie. But now in our country, with what's going on in the world, I thought the stream stopped. Our leaders don't even lie to us anymore. They just kind of tell us, they just say what it is, bro. We're doing a regime change. That's what we're doing. And Americans are going to die. Okay. War aimed at eliminating the Iranian leadership, which it looks like they did, destroying the country's missile system and naval forces, and calling on Iran versus, they'd be effing me up, I can't lie, to rise and seize control in the aftermath of the attacks, and calling on Iranians, them calling on them themselves. So that was something that's interesting to me, because of how are they going to do that? And then also what's interesting with this, and did I lose I'm not even going to think about it because I think I kind of lost my train of thought. But the bombing campaign was initiated by Israel, but Trump's statement announcing the U.S. involvement made clear the stakes on Iranians. Bombs will be dropping everywhere, okay? No, we'll get to this. We'll get to that. The Israel, initiated by Israel. We'll be coming back to this in a second. We were talking about this yesterday. I was seeing reports that, how do I say this? I was seeing reports that Trump and them, Trump in America, were bombing locations where there won't be civilians, and Israelis were looking like they were bombing locations where there might be civilians to also kill leaders. We'll get to all of that, okay? And when we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take, Trump said in a taped statement on Truth Social soon after Operation Epic Fury began. This will be probably your only chance for generations, okay? So he's encouraging them to take it over. And what has now become a signature component of Trump's approach to Iran, the U.S. constructed a false veneer of continuing diplomatic negotiations, only to turn around and launch a major attack, okay? Diplomatic negotiations, remember that was the whole thing, the big thing yesterday, is Trump was unhappy with the negotiations, but they said they were going to keep going back and forth. I didn't read a lot of the articles that I was seeing, but it looked like Iran was saying, we can keep talking and there's a way we can figure this out. So this was Trump trying to obviously make a move. If you were going and watch a documentary of this later, this was Trump trying to make a move of it being a secret, right? And that leads me back to what I was about to say a second ago. The American army is extremely impressive and crazy. We have a lot of power, and I think you can say from Trump's administration he's shown that, but again, it's the things that you're using them for, and if it's America first, and questioning one of the major things that you ran on, which is you're not going to get America in wars out of other countries, and you're going to be American first, and you're going to save American lives, and criticizing Biden for his pullout of Iraq, criticizing Biden and Democrats for sending money to Ukraine, and there's problems in America, and which are arguments that are fair and nuanced, but to say it in a quick way, fair. But then within a year, he said this, within a year of being president, he said all of that, and this is what he has done while he's been president. Okay. Also think it's important to mention he's done nothing to stop the war in Ukraine with Russia. That's still going on, and it's clear that he can't make Putin do shit. I think that's very important to say as well. So, yeah, constructed a false veneer of continuing diplomatic negotiations to turn around and launch a major attack. In the months running up to the strike, Israel and the U.S. reportedly engaged in close coordination to synchronize attacks aimed at decapitating the leadership of Iran, which it looks like they have successfully done. And we're gonna get to the tweets. All right, we're gonna get to the tweets now, because it looks like officially. President Trump has confirmed that Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei was killed in the joint U.S.-Israeli attack on Iran. So they've started the most, and I was gonna say, I think, is this true? Has it been confirmed? But it is. I'm looking at the news on my TV right now. It's true. Okay. Succeeded in doing that, so again, that's gonna show what comes next. Let me look through my likes and just see the kind of things I want to read with this. Let's see. All right, Trump's top general told the White House last week he can't predict what happens after Iran strikes. The Situation Room meeting ran 3 times longer than scheduled. Kane was confident about Venezuela. That was swift and clean. Iran is not Venezuela. Confident about Venezuela, of course, with us going in and taking Nicolas Maduro, I think it's the president of Venezuela, right? That was quick and easy. He's saying this will not be easy. 185 million people, nuclear program, 30,000 proxy fighters across 5 countries, missiles already hitting U.S. bases in 4 countries tonight. The general who planned this told the president he doesn't know how it ends. And that's an interesting thing too. U.S. bases hit in Iran strikes 2026, because Iran did immediately start doing strikes on America. Okay. Let's see. What U.S. bases did Iran target? Where I don't think any Americans are killed yet. No Americans or service members were killed. All right. But Iran has already shown that they are going to fight back. Let's see. A wave of attacks Iran launched at U.S. bases across the Middle East in retaliation for the U.S.-Israeli missile strikes. So they're already fighting back. How long is this going to be going on? And again, that first headline, no Americans can die. And Trump has already said Americans will die. Let's get to that. That 8-minute video we showed, let's just play a clip of that, of Trump just coming out and saying Americans could die. Let's watch this.
Seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties.
I got it.
That often happens.
Looking at something. I got caught up looking at something. The lives of American heroes may be lost. This, again, he's serious about this. Like, this is leading me to believe that it won't be like June, where it was these quick strikes. I think they called it the 1 week war, and it was like Operation Midnight Hit. No, that was not Operation Midnight Hit. I don't know. They all have crazy names, but I think it was like the 1 week war. Like, it was a week. We're going to be covering this for the next 7 days to see if this is a week. Everything that Trump is saying and what people are saying, the tweet we just saw, no one knows how long this is going to be. This looks like this is a full regime change. They want to take complete control of Iran. And it looks like this will be very positive for Israel. And this is something that will be good for them and probably make them the undoubted major powerhouse in the Middle East But a lot of Americans on both the left and the right are questioning, what does that do for Americans? Why would we want to do that, right? And I think I have more tweets of just a lot of people saying that. Let me see. Okay, this is, we have it. This is Tucker Carlson on it. And this is me just showing people from the right. It's people from the right and the left that don't like this, but let's just look at a couple.
Everybody knows the only reason we're having this war is because Israel wants it. This is their last chance, they believe.
And I'm about to go get a water. I'll be right back.
This presidency is the last presidency where they're going to have unequivocal bipartisan support.
Oh, my bad. Hold on.
Period. You can't primary every Thomas Massey, and there's a whole army of them coming at some point because everyone can see what's going on. And you can shut down X, and you can shut down the internet. You can be like Great Britain and arrest people who protest Israel, but attitudes are not going to revert to what they were 5 years ago. Sorry. And they know this. So this is their last chance.
And this is what he's talking about, where it's like, that's a great point. I think growing up, at least me being from Indiana and my education, I never really thought anything about Israel. To be honest, like, not a big deal, of just the history of their country, just the history of the country and what they're involved in, just as a fact. And within the last year and a half, 2 years, I just have. And I'm just researching more. And some things are crazy and our conspiracy theories are bad. And some things are true and just facts that you just have to look at. And I think there's a lot of questions that are reasonable that a lot more people have about our government and its connection with the Israeli government that nobody was asking, I think, years ago. And I think he could be right about I think he could be right that this could be Israel's last chance. But the only thing I question is how much of it is on both sides. If Kamala were president, as far as the Trump being, it seems like best friends with Israel and being somewhat controlled or very heavily swayed by Israel. If Kamala were president, would she be doing the same thing? That's a question I have. But again, this is a full court press that Trump is doing. He's going in with Israel. We're going to get to headlines we've already killed innocent children.
What's so amazing is that Israel, which at least is acting in what it perceives to be its own national interest, is joined by its shills in the United States, of course. But really, its only other ally in this is the American news media, whose job it is to tell you the truth and inform you as to what's happening.
And this is the biggest thing, and not the biggest thing, but this is another crazy, interesting thing that I've thought with this is from the fact that Trump is just going and doing these strikes and bombings on Iran to do a regime change in this country when he ran on America first and helping the country. Since he's doing this, it makes you ask a very fair question of how much control does this government of Israel, another country, have over our government? And when you see on the left and the right, you ask how much control do they have? But what he's saying here, when you also look at the news and you don't say that as well, when you don't look the elephant in the room, don't when you don't look it in the eye and just say ask these questions when you're CNN, Fox, pick your favorite American news station, whether it be video on the TV or whether it be your newspaper, why aren't they just being honest about the fact of asking this question and researching this question? Because they're supposed to be telling the American people what they need to know. And the reason for that, I would have to say, tell me if you think it's something else, is that they also have there's a very big influence that they have over not only the government, but a big influence that they have over American media, right? Because that's what Tucker Carlson is saying. And the reason that we're looking at this video is that people on the right, not only on the left, both agree that why are we doing strikes that are not only killing civilians, well, not only killing Iranian leaders, but civilians and children, to do a regime change when it has nothing to do with Americans? And why isn't our major news platforms, whether it be CNN, Fox, talking about that, right? This is a great one.
Whose job it is to tell you the truth and inform you as to what's happening. But really, its only other ally in this is the American news media, whose job it is to tell you the truth and inform you as to what's happening. to tell you, hey, wake up. The world could be changing, and it's going to affect you and your family. That's their job. And instead, they've been lulling you to sleep with the same variety of transparent lies and
because I watch the news and I think this all the time. Every single day, there should be stories of just how if you've looked at the news anytime this 24 hours, I'm looking at Fox and CNN right now. Iran's supreme leader killed in strikes, Fox News. Iran's supreme leader is dead, CNN. Why aren't they also talking about that the fact that we are striking the Iran supreme leader because of it will help another country, Israel. Again, when we have a president that was predominantly put into office for getting rid of illegals and fixing immigration, bringing American jobs back, and being American first, not killing Americans in wars out of other countries and having power. And I said last night that there's the conversation of, does us doing these things make the country stronger? Does us going and kidnapping the president of Venezuela and murdering the supreme leader of Iran and trying to annex Canada and take over, does this make America stronger? I'm not sure. Some of it maybe, some of it no. This I don't think so. This in the Middle East, I don't think so. And this just question of just thinking about, is Trump being controlled, is if you just look at what he says. Let's look at this video.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. Our president will start a war.
He's talking about Obama, right? I think I have a tweet from Trump in like 2012 where he says, 2012. Don't let Obama play the Iran card in order to start a war, in order to get elected. Be careful, Republicans. Our politicians are lying. They're doing anything they can to get into office, and they're being controlled or very heavily led by somebody else. It looks like Israel, and it looks like our American news that your parents watch, your grandparents watch, that everybody, the girl that you're trying to talk to, anybody that looks at, either if they're Republicans or Democrats, whether it's Fox News or whatever, the mainstream news, they don't ask the question either, which makes you think, are they also being led in this way? Here's a tweet of Benjamin Netanyahu since 1995 saying Iran is weeks from a nuclear bomb. Again, you just start to ask these questions of like, it's not even like it's like you don't want to be conspiracy theories, but you see so much shit back to back to back, and you ask yourself the questions. You say, what could be going on? And I don't know how you don't come to this conclusion. And that's crazy. But it's and then this story, which was one of the last ones I think I wanted to talk about with this. We're going to keep going a little bit, but like 51 schoolgirls were killed and 60 were injured when a strike destroyed a girls' elementary school in Miab, South Iran. Iranian media has reported 51 girls dead, 60 injured in an Israeli strike on a school. Iran says, what does this look like? This is the Israeli playbook. We want to kill one person. We don't do an extraction. We bomb the whole street to kill that one person. And I just gave the American military credit. Even if you don't like what we're doing with this, we have pinpoint accuracy and precision with our military. And now 51 girls have been killed in a strike that is directly killed to America that Trump is supporting. And when you have stuff like Palestine, you can connect America to that, but not in the same way. Like it's a different connection. These 51 girls, little girls dying, dead, that is a direct connection to Americans. And I want to show a drop site article that I looked at that. What's your thoughts on Hitler? Killed a lot of people, definitely committed a genocide, and nobody who commits genocide is right. I have a lot of thoughts on Hitler. That's the main one I'll give. You know what, bro? Follow my YouTube. if my next YouTube video, because what's your thoughts on Hitler? If my next YouTube video that I post gets 500 views, I'll do a 3-part series on my real thoughts on YouTube on Hitler, and I'll post it on my YouTube. Because I could say a lot, but I'm not gonna say it on this stream right now. But I'll say he killed a lot of people and he committed a genocide, and no one should commit a genocide. No one of it. I don't think an ethnic group of human beings should be tried to be wiped out. No one should do it. No one. All right. And I want to show 50, again, this is what I'm thinking of, 51 Skrull girls dead in an Israeli strike. And there's an article with this. And I want to just talk about a little bit with this, because this is what America is connected to. This is what's going to be going on. And again, stories like this, people might not care about. I'm going to tell you one thing, though. Let that headline come out of the American that is killed. When that happens, who knows? No, I know it's going to be, people are going to be forced to care. When the first American dies, because these are children from a different country, I think it's disgusting and sad, but when the first American is killed, it'll be, okay? Small children who knew nothing of politics or war is a scene of devastation in Minab, Iran, as parents waited to know the fate of their young daughters after the bombing of a girls' elementary school killed over 100 people, okay? This is the story. The first 3 paragraphs are talking about a father that was despondent and staring at the ground and couldn't think or say or do anyone, and had people asking him, "Are you okay?" And he couldn't even speak to them because he was waiting outside of the school as they were bringing all the dead bodies out and calling the names of the girls that were dead. And he knew that his daughter was dead, and he was waiting for them to call his daughter's name. That's what America just did for a regime change in Iran, because they can't have nuclear weapons. We're now in another country that none of us have ever probably seen killing kids and women on the road to kill the supreme leader and the regime change. And we did kill the supreme leader. And will a regime change happen? Probably in some way. How many Americans are going to die? How many years are we going to be in it? How is it going to affect the American economy? And it's going to happen in the country. You feel offended? I feel offended too. What about my offend? I feel offended too, honestly. Every time I get a check and I see taxes taken out when the country's doing this shit, I get offended. I'm not going to lie. And that's not me saying I don't want to get like someone that come out and take me from my apartment. I'm not trying to go against taxes. I mean, not going to run. But this is... Read the article, go to Drop Site. This is what America is attached to now. Let's see. I want to just show a little bit more of the destruction, maybe a couple more. Let's see. Barack reached a deal that prevented Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. Trump ripped up that deal. Now we are at war. Now we are at war with Iran to prevent it from getting a nuclear weapon. Maybe that asks the question of, maybe it's not about stopping nuclear weapons. Maybe it's about something else. Maybe. Let's see. This is Charlie Kirk, June 17th, 2025. I wasn't a fan of Charlie Kirk and his way of journalism. I am a fan of anyone that is able to take media and make a lot of money off of it, make a business out of it, and influence people in some way. And I don't feel right about someone getting killed for saying their opinions. I just want to put that blank slate out. Not a fan of Charlie Kirk. Never watched Charlie Kirk. I support it. I support bosses and business owners, and I don't think people should be killed for being in media. Let's get that straight. But I do want to show another side of Republicans, or again, just get back to the same thing with the Tucker Carlson video, where it's like, if you are a logical human being, you should be asking these questions. You might be Republican and feel how Republicans, Kamala should, a woman should never be president, blah, 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 blah. She like all those things. And you might be a liberal Democrat and you'd be like, Trump is racist, awful, dictator impersonating president. But either way, you have to ask questions on is our country being controlled by another country? Charlie Kirk, this is insane. Regime change will result in a bloody civil war, killing hundreds of thousands and creating another massive Muslim refugee crisis. Topping a leader is never as easy as you think. It almost always results in further involvement of civil war and chaos. Resist this. When did he tweet this? June 17th of 2025, during the 1 week war. During the 1 week war that happened last year. And I think if my friend sent me this, I think he's right. I think Charlie Kirk died like 2 weeks later. Let me look. Let me see. Controlled by what country? September 10th, 2025. Okay, it was a much later. Okay. So that's how we look up facts. Much later. Later that year. And let's not get, I'm not Candace Owens. I'm not going to get into a conspiracy theory that I'm not ready to come to you guys and bring a lot of facts on. Some certain things I'll bring facts on. Controlled by one country, I'll talk about that in a second. We're only streaming for an hour. We're 36 minutes in, so we've made good time. I do want to talk about a couple other things. But this story is just insane. But topping a leader, this is Charlie Kirk. Topping a leader is never as easy as you think. A bloody civil war, right? You know, I'll go back out like you said, controlled by what country? I mean, let's talk about this together. Let's think about this. I don't know. I mean, the Tucker Carlson video we watched, I don't know, D Hicks Peanut 272. And if you haven't followed, please follow. Tell your friends to follow. I appreciate you for watching. I don't know if you were here when we watched that D Hicks Peanut, but I mean,
reason we're having this war
could maybe
is because Israel wants it. This is their last chance, they believe. This presidency is the last presidency where they're going to have unequivocal bipartisan support.
I mean, 51 schoolgirls dead, 60 injured in an Israeli strike on a school, Iran says, confirmed as true. So a strike that killed 51 girls in Iran was done in the same day that America did a strike in Iran. And our president came to a regime change. We have this of Benjamin Netanyahu for decades saying that. I mean, could we be controlled by Israel? It's just a question. I'm not saying we are. I'm just asking. Are we allowed to ask that question? I mean, in 2012, Trump said, don't let Obama play the Iran card. Trump was saying we shouldn't be in a war. Does something happen like when people become our politicians, when Americans become high-level politicians in America, does something like happen? I'm asking. I'm not saying. I'm like genuinely asking, just looking at that. I mean, no. Jews, that sounds pretty, no, I'm not implying that Jews rule the country, no. Jewish people and Israeli are not the same thing. Israelis are Jewish, all Jewish people aren't Israeli. That's one. Two is I'm not saying anything about Jews ruling the country. I'm asking about Israel, a specific country, and I'm asking a question about the power they could have over our country while we're in the middle of going to a war with them. This is a video that I was going to show. The reason I was going to show this one. I just want to go through my likes again. This is what we're doing. It's going through my likes. Right, let's keep a straight line on what we're doing here. I liked a lot of stuff with this Israeli-Iran American war today. Okay, I just had to look at this text. All right. And I just want to go through the tweets. This is a video of basically saying how Iran is not going to have support from China and Russia, which is what I was talking about last night. We can watch. It wasn't that entertaining. I mean, what is it? The Twitter account, you can see it right here. CARLUSKAP. Go look at it. I mean, should we look at it? We're 39 minutes in.
Tehran is discovering something. Why China and Russia won't fight for Iran. For years, Iran believed it had powerful friends, Russia, China, but as US military pressure intensifies, Tehran is discovering something uncomfortable. Its allies are transactional, not loyal. Since 2018, after the United States exited the nuclear deal, Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, pushed a look east strategy. The logic
Supreme leader that was killed today. He was killed today.
was simple. If the West isolates us, we pivot to Moscow and Beijing. And Iran followed through. Joint naval drills in the Gulf of Oman, missile cooperation, oil sales to China, military coordination in Syria. On paper, the partnership looked strong.
I posted like the stream on TikTok, bro. Shit got no views, bro. This shit not doing good. Fudge. How do I market the stream better live? I mean, I gotta worry about that later. And then we'll talk. We gotta finish this story because this is big before I get to just chat. But this is, go watch this. I mean, this was a major. I like this and wanted to touch on this for a second, if I could speak, because I was interested in if we are going to go to war with Iran, could this bring in other countries? Because that's always a worry. Let me know what you think, especially DXP, because I know you have a lot of opinions on the world in different countries. And this is a question for KJ. Will other countries get involved to help Iran? And if we're saying that America is doing this because it helps Israel, and if we're believing that Israel is the country's best friend, and what's best for Israel is best for America, because that's what it looks like the conversation is there going to be any other countries that want to go against us and Israel? And keep in mind, America is basically like hella countries, if we go to war, have to kind of come to America's aid. Do China and Russia want to come to Iran, or do they just step back and say better them than me, right? This video is saying they step back. The video is basically saying like, yeah, bro, you got oil, like you cool, you help, like when you come around, you get us a little bit of girls, like that's cool and all. But if we see you get jumped, like you're not the boy, bro. Like you're not gang. It's like the rich dude that's like, bro, we come to your house, you got the drinks all the time, like you chef us up, bro. Like everything's always going on, bro. But you're really not gang, bro. That's really what they're saying. Like, bro, China and Russia is like, bro, F with the oil, respect the oil, like respect to like y'all do cool stuff. I think in this video they're talking about like the Strait of Hormuz, where they're getting them oil, but they're like, bro, y'all can kick rocks though. We'll find more oil. Like there's like, it's the same thing. Like there's hella rich people, bro. We'll find another boat next summer. It's basically what this is. So maybe it's a success, bro. We could topple them in 2 weeks and no one's gonna care. Maybe this story is nothing. I mean, maybe. Or we could be there for 2 years and a lot of Americans die. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully we topple them. But the question still, hopefully this is done tomorrow. But we're gonna keep covering it. The question should be asked, like why are we doing this? Like Trump told us why we're doing this. It's for regime change. He said it was for nuclear. It's clear that our government is like. It's just like, again, like there's just some things I think if I over these 43 minutes I've in just my content in general, I've given enough research to make a few statements, right? And I won't make other statements, but I'll make a few. My Wi-Fi's trash right now. But to make a few. Okay? Okay. How do I want to do? What am I sure of, right? Because this is like another thing when you're researching, when you're making an idea. What do I know for a fact? One of them is our politicians are lying to us. Lying to us about like what their main goal for the country is, and what the next 4 years. Like they're lying. Whatever they're saying they're gonna do is not what their plan is. That's clear. America first might be impossible in this world. You think what you want to think after that. I'm not going to say what I think. I have my opinions on that, but we're in fact time. I think we have a fact that America first for our politicians is not the truth. No America first. I think that's a fact. It's a fact. our politicians, for some reason, are not America first. Is it for money? Is it for blackmail? Is it for they don't care about America? Is it for they actually hate the country? But I'll just stop at 3. 3 is a good number. Don't think those 3 things we know are facts. Our government is lying to us about the goals of the country. Our government is not America first. America first might not be a thing. And our politicians have to have some reason as to why they won't be America first. And that third one, you can branch off and think about why those reasons are. I have mine, but I won't say them on this stream. Maybe that's what I'll get a Patreon to, but then they'll probably stop my Patreon like that one dude. Damn. I couldn't even. Well, maybe I could. I just don't. I think I talk like this. I just don't say the names. Like, I'm saying the names, but I'm asking questions. I should be able to ask questions on Patreon. I don't know. We'll figure that out down the line with marketing. But those are 3 pretty good questions, I think, that we can get from what's going on today. And I think if the war ends in a week, people will forget and we'll stop asking these questions, and maybe I'll just get back to talking about sports and movies. Or maybe in a week, if we keep killing kids in schools, I'll keep talking about it. But, I see these headlines and I feel like I have to say something. I have to say my opinion on it. I have to ask the questions. I have to ask the people who care to sit with me on stream when they could be watching anything else to ask the questions and get to that. So that was that.